Hi, everyone. This is Nina Piper. I'm the professor of ED 3230 English Language Learners in the Multicultural Classroom. I just wanted to make a very short video to discuss the syllabus briefly, more so the assignments that we'll be focusing on throughout the semester. There is a course description. This course really does focus on how to best support content area teachers in the classroom when it relates to English language learners. So throughout this course, I will be sharing strategies and information, techniques, ways that we can best support our English learners in our content area classrooms. And so, of course, this means that you are not an ELD teacher or an ESL teacher. There are a lot of different labels that we'll get into in week one. That's certainly not the case. Most teachers are content area teachers, but because our English learners are integrated into our content area classrooms, we really need to know ways and have different strategies to support them. So this class does focus on that. The first few weeks, and I'll get into this when we see our schedule, the first few weeks really does focus on those language skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So I try to give you a pretty heavy background on that before jumping into the SIOP model, which is the way that we can best support our students in the classroom. It's a way to teach and plan our lessons to support English learners. And so the first few weeks may seem a little dense, and that's okay. You'll never be tested on that information. I'm just providing it to you, giving it to you, and discussing it with you so that once we get into our lesson planning, you have some of that to kind of pull from and refer back to. So that is the focus of our course. You can go down and see the instructional outcomes, the department outcomes. A lot of this is carried over from education classes that you may have already had. The course objectives are here as well. As you scroll down, a lot of these different policies, academic integrity, that's all from the university that I'm including as well on the syllabus. For the portfolio, we do have the culturally responsive teacher statement. That's something you want to include. That's one of our essays that we'll have throughout our semester, so you can go ahead and include that in your portfolio as well. And then field experience, we do a little assignment. It's considered your final assignment, where you focus on your field experience hours that you completed for this course. So the assignments are listed here, but as you scroll down, I have a little bit of a longer description with the point value next to it. So the culturally responsive teacher paper will be due towards the end of our semester. And this is a 2 to 4 page essay that really explains the importance of being a teacher who considers the cultural background of his or her students. And so throughout our semester, we'll be discussing ways that you can go about including that, how we maintain a multicultural classroom, how we build the rapport with our students to gain the information that helps us be culturally responsive. And so hopefully when I assign it, but also when it's due, hopefully you'll have a lot of information and a lot of examples to refer back to kind of build your own framework, how you plan to go about being a culturally responsive teacher. One of our first assignments will be the hypothetical English language learner cluster project. It is kind of a mouthful, but this is a presentation that you'll be creating where you'll be explaining throughout the presentation. You're going to pick 3 to 6 English learners, hypothetical English learners if you're not in the classroom setting, but they may be actual English learners that you're working with now if you are working in a classroom setting. Certainly do not include their names. We want to keep them anonymous and private, but you're creating 3 students to kind of keep in mind throughout the semester as we go into assignments. So sometimes it's easier to have students in mind, have their language levels in mind as we're working on other assignments so that you know how to best support them. So this becomes our first assignment. I'll have plenty of examples on Blackboard, and I'll explain it in more detail once we get to it. From there, we have the Jumpstart lesson. So a Jumpstart lesson is like a little mini lesson that happens before the main class lesson, and it's meant to support a group of students who may need additional background information or additional vocabulary in our case, English learners. And so this is a little jumpstart lesson you would create to provide background information or vocabulary to your English learners before the actual lesson. And so we'll talk about that as well. The differentiated lesson plan is really a lesson plan that you would create for your classroom, but throughout that plan, you will be kind of explaining or outlining how you'll differentiate for your English learners in the classroom. So this doesn't have to be a brand new lesson that you create for this class, for ED 3230. It could be a lesson that you've created for another class or a lesson that you've already used if you're in the classroom setting. But really what I'm looking at throughout this lesson is the differentiation that you're anticipating for your English learners. One of the last lesson plan that you'll be doing is the demonstration micro lesson. And this is where you will be taking, it could be your jumpstart lesson. It could also be your differentiated lesson. It could be a brand new lesson. But you're taking a lesson and you are going to either record yourself with just audio or with video as well, teaching the class, teaching your hypothetical class, quote unquote. If you would prefer to teach me as your student in a Zoom, we can do that as well. But for this assignment, I'm looking to see how you would deliver a lesson. We'll be at that point in our text where I'll be taking a look at that. And so that's the focus of this assignment. And then the field observation is a reflective paper where you discuss your field experience, what you noticed or what you observed in your field experience and how it relates to English learners or any of the topics we've discussed in our class. And that will be your final assignment for the course. If you scroll down a bit further, you can see our course schedule here. I explained that it's a little bit heavy on language skills in the beginning, and then at week 4, that's just to provide you some background information. At week 4, we start discussing the SIOP model, and the SIOP model is it's a way to go about teaching your students that allows us to kind of keep our English learners in the back of our mind. And a lot of the strategies that are shared, while they also help English learners, are just considered best practices. So this is what our text focuses on. This is what we'll also be discussing and observing through videos throughout the semester. So the course schedule is tentative. I've outlined it as best I can, but that doesn't mean that we might need to reschedule things as needed. And as you scroll down further, there is a rubric. This is just the university rubric for writing. Any sort of writing assignment, there are 2 journals throughout our semester that those journals will be graded on this rubric. All of the other assignments have their own rubric or have a point value associated with it. If you have any questions with assignments, please don't hesitate to let me know. Thanks.